Hey, we're gonna be doing level 16. This is the final one I'm recording today. Level 16, pretty. It's moderate level. I say moderate. So this is simplifying radicals. So so simplify the square root of 8. So there is no square root of 8. There's no perfect square. It's not a perfect square. So what you have to do is let's think about some multiples. So one multiple that I like to use here is 2 times 4. So 2 times 4 would be 8. So square root of, like in parentheses, 2 times 4. So that would equal square root 2 times square root 4. And that would equal positive or negative 2 and square root 2. So like you have 2, and square root of 2, that's irrational. You won't be able to get that. So yeah, that's how you do that. So like for 2, square root of 20, So a multiple of 20, that's 5 times 4. So we do square root of 5 times 4 equals square root of 5 times square root of 4, which equals positive or negative 2 square root of 5. Square root of 5 is irrational, but 2 is fine. And 3, square root of 56. So I got square root of 14 times 4, which equals the square root of 14 times the square root of 4. And the square root of 4 is 2. So we have positive or negative 2 square root of 14. That's irrational. 4 and 5 were a little tricky. I don't know if I was tired that day. But I'm going to do some interesting multiples here. So multiples of 147 I actually used here. It was 3 times 49. So square root of 3 times 49 equals the square root of 3 times the square root of 49. And that equals plus or minus 7, square root of 3. Square root of 3 is irrational. But 7 is rational, of course. It's just 7. So that's the answer to that one. And 17, I want to work with 7. 7's a difficult, but 17 here. 17 is actually a prime number. So this one's kind of This one's kind of simple but difficult at the same time. Because once you got it, you're like, oh my gosh. But before that, I was like, huh? What? How? Okay, so this is literally just the square root of 1 times 17, so that's the only multiple. And that equals the square root of 1 times the square root of 17. And that equals positive or negative 1, since that's irrational, and the square root of 17. So that's irrational. And 6. I touched on imaginary numbers briefly back in the video for 15. So you can simplify the square root of negative 25. The square root of negative 1 is I, so called the imaginary number. So the square root of 25, just regular 25, would be 5. This is negative 25, and you can't square root a negative, it's like, it'll just become positive. What the, huh? So this guy, I think his name was Euler or something, came up with this thing. I is just negative 1. So whatever you need to make a square root of a negative, you just put I next to it. So it's 5I and negative 5I. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting, And it's kind of a lame way to do it, I think. But it's really the only way to do it. So you just say, oh yeah, I just means it's comes to negative, it's negative. So yeah, that's easy to get it out of the way of math. And I kind of wish there was a better way of displaying it, but there's not. So it's just an easy way to get out of it. Just put I next to it. All right, hope that helps. Have a nice day.